8 a.m. Your brain thinks you're starving, but your stomach is silent. This mismatch is triggering a primal alarm deep in your survival circuits. But this isn't hunger, it's a hijacking, and it's all orchestrated by a phenomenon called food noise. This is the moment your own biology becomes the enemy. For Kai, day 14 starts not with an alarm clock, but with a low, persistent hum in his mind. It's not a sound, but a thought shape, and it's shaped like a donut. He ate dinner last night, he's not physically hungry, yet the mental static is already there. It's a craving without a cause, a biological ghost in the machine. He gets out of bed, and the noise seems to amplify with every step towards the kitchen. This isn't a simple choice of what to eat for breakfast. It's a negotiation with an invisible force that seems to know all his weaknesses. He deliberately grabs a bottle of water, a small act of defiance. Kai grips the cold bottle, feeling the condensation. But here is the twist nobody tells you. This fight isn't about food. It's about a signal scrambling the wires between his gut, his fat cells, and his brain. You'll see why this matters in a moment. 10 a.m. The noise is now a roar. Kai is at his desk trying to focus on a spreadsheet, but the numbers blur into images of pizza, burgers, and ice cream. This is the dopamine mirage. His brain, starved for its usual rewards, is desperately seeking a fix. It has identified the fastest, most reliable source, hyper-palatable food. So Kai does what millions do. He pulls out his phone. He grips the smooth glass, his thumb hovering over a food delivery app. He starts scrolling, not to order, but just to look. Each glossy photo of a cheeseburger is a tiny hit of dopamine, a promise of satisfaction. But it's a trap. He's not feeding a need, he's activating a reward circuit that has become dysregulated. It's like playing a slot machine, where the only jackpot is a momentary silence from the noise. But here's the hidden mechanism. This scrolling behavior is carving a deeper neural pathway, making the association between boredom, stress, and high-calorie food even stronger. The more he looks, the more the food noise solidifies from a vague hum into a specific, undeniable command. 12:30 p.m. Kai just finished a perfectly healthy, balanced lunch. Grilled chicken, quinoa, and a large salad. He should feel satisfied, energized, and quiet. The I'm full signal, a hormone called leptin, should be flooding his system, telling his brain to stand down. For a glorious 15 minutes, it works. There is silence. But then it comes creeping back. The noise. A quiet whisper at first, then a familiar hum. How is this possible? Kai presses a hand to his stomach, feeling the physical fullness. The sensation is real, but the message isn't getting through. This is the leptin lie. His fat cells have been sending the "we're full" signal correctly, but his brain's receiving station, the hypothalamus, has grown deaf to it. It's a state called leptin resistance. He's sending the messages, but the call isn't being answered. This disconnect is the key that unlocks the door for today's true villain to enter the stage, turning a simple hum into a biological siren. 3 p.m. The crash hits. It's a wave of fatigue so profound it feels like a physical weight pressing down on his shoulders. But this isn't just a simple afternoon slump, it's an ambush, and the general leading the charge is cortisol, the stress hormone. I want you to stop thinking of cortisol as just stress. From now on, think of it as the emergency broadcast. Right now, Kai's brain perceives the combination of mental work and the faulty leptin signal as a severe energy crisis. The emergency broadcast is now blaring across every neural pathway, screaming one message: Mayday, Mayday, energy reserves critical, deploy immediate countermeasures. Kai grips the edge of his desk, his knuckles turning white, bracing against the hormonal onslaught. This broadcast has one goal: find the quickest, densest source of energy possible to resolve the perceived emergency. It's not looking for broccoli. It's looking for sugar and fat, the biological equivalent of rocket fuel, and it will not stop until it gets it. 5 p.m. The emergency broadcast has hijacked the mission. Cortisol is now directly influencing Kai's dopamine system, creating the craving cascade. The vague food noise from the morning has sharpened into a laser-focused, high-fidelity demand for a very specific target: a chocolate-glazed donut. It's no longer a suggestion. It's a physical pull, an ache in his jaw, a watering of his mouth. He can almost taste it. This is neurochemical warfare. Cortisol primes the brain's reward center, the nucleus accumbens, making it hypersensitive to cues of high-reward foods. The mere thought of the donut now promises an explosion of dopamine far greater than any other activity. Kai walks to the kitchen, opens the pantry, and just stares, his brain running simulations of the first bite. The emergency broadcast isn't just sending a signal, it's painting a vivid picture of the solution, making it nearly impossible to resist. This is how your biology ensures survival in a famine, and how it creates chaos in a world of abundance. 7 p.m. The negotiation begins. Kai knows, intellectually, that the donut is a bad idea. He tries to fight back with logic and reason. He drinks a large glass of cold water, hoping the feeling of fullness will silence the alarm. He grips the glass, focusing on the cold sensation. But the emergency broadcast isn't measuring stomach volume, it's measuring blood glucose and perceived energy threat. The water is ignored. Next, he tries a healthy alternative, an apple. He eats it slowly, deliberately. It's sweet, it has fiber, it should help. But it's like trying to put out a 5-alarm fire with a squirt gun. The cortisol-driven brain isn't just asking for sweet, it's demanding a specific combination of sugar and fat that it knows will provide the fastest, most massive energy spike to shut down the emergency. The apple is a biological insult to the system right now. The noise doesn't just continue, it gets angry, louder, more insistent. The negotiation has failed. 9 p.m. Surrender. The mental battle has been raging for hours, and Kai is exhausted. His willpower, a finite resource, powered by the very glucose his brain thinks is missing, is gone. The emergency broadcast is screaming. His dopamine system is begging, and he can no longer fight. He opens the delivery app, his fingers moving on autopilot. He orders 2 donuts. When they arrive, he opens the box, and the smell alone feels like a wave of relief. He picks one up, and as he takes the first bite, a profound quiet descends upon his mind. The emergency broadcast instantly goes silent. The noise is gone. A warm, calming flood of dopamine washes over him. This is the moment the feedback loop is sealed shut. The action of eating the high-sugar, high-fat food has been rewarded with the most powerful chemical relief his brain can produce. His biology has now learned a critical, dangerous lesson. When the alarm sounds, this specific food is the off switch. 11 p.m. The relief was alone, and the bill is due. This is the dopamine hangover. The intense pleasure from the donut was so potent that it overwhelmed his brain's receptors. In response, his brain began a process called downregulation. It's like a bouncer at a club that's too wild. It starts pulling dopamine receptors off the floor to calm things down. Kai feels it as a dull, sluggish feeling, a vague sense of unease and regret. He looks at his reflection in the dark screen of his laptop, noticing a slight flush on his face. The world seems a little less vibrant, a little more gray. Normal activities, like listening to music or reading a book, now offer less pleasure because the system that processes that pleasure has been temporarily blunted. To feel that good again tomorrow, he'll need an even bigger stimulus, creating a cycle of escalating cravings. The emergency broadcast has been silenced, but it left collateral damage. 3 a.m. A sudden jolt. Kai is awake. His heart is pounding, not from a nightmare, but from a silent, internal alarm. He sits up, checking his pulse with his fingers, feeling the rapid, thready beat. This is the hormonal echo of his 9 p.m. decision. The massive sugar load from the donuts caused a huge spike in insulin to clear the glucose from his blood. The insulin was so effective, it overshot its target, causing his blood sugar to crash too low, a condition called reactive hypoglycemia. His body, sensing this new danger, had no choice but to sound another alarm. It released another shot of cortisol and adrenaline to jolt his liver into releasing stored glucose and bring his blood sugar back up. He's trapped in a vicious cycle. The solution to the first cortisol wave directly caused the second. He's not hungry, but his body is in a state of high alert, caught on a hormonal roller coaster he can't get off. 10 a.m. the next morning. Kai feels exhausted, cloudy, and defeated. But as he sips his coffee, a moment of clarity arrives. It wasn't a failure of willpower. It was a failure to understand the system. He was fighting the alarm, not the fire. The fire was the perceived energy crisis, triggered by unstable blood sugar and amplified by chronic low-grade stress. The food noise was just the symptom, the final, desperate signal from a system in distress. His new plan isn't to fight the craving when it arrives, it's to prevent the emergency broadcast from ever being sent. This means managing his stress, stabilizing his energy throughout the day, and making his brain feel safe and supplied. The war isn't won with resistance, it's won with strategy. If you've ever felt that intense, specific 3 p.m. craving for something sweet, comment broadcast. Let's see how many of us are getting the same emergency signal. But in solving the cortisol crisis, Kai has made his leptin system even more resistant. Tomorrow, the I'm full signal will be even quieter.